whether or not we experience a fourth wave and how significant it may be depends on us. The only sustainable way out of this pandemic is personal responsibility on the part of all our citizens.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness is right. We all have a duty to keep ourselves, our families, and our communities COVID-19 free. And part of that duty is practicing the COVID-19 prevention protocols and getting vaccinated. Let's do it for health's sake. After all, we are one Jamaica, one family. We continue our Jamaica Magazine program with a word of advice followed by the news. Stay with us.
Do you know what a disability is? A permanent loss of function in any part of your body is called a disability. Some people are born that way. Others get a disability because of an illness or an accident. This doesn't have to prevent you from living a full life. The Disabilities Act will protect your right to work, raise families, or do business like anyone else. Visit jcpdja.com. A message from the JCPD, an agency of the Ministry of Labour and Social Security.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Monday, November 22, 2021. The Bank of Jamaica, BOJ, is reporting that the country currently has $4.7 billion in gross international reserves, 143.8% of the level considered adequate. The net international reserves, NIR, meanwhile, totaled $3.9 billion at the end of October. The numbers were revealed during the central bank's quarterly media briefing on Friday. Governor Richard Biles says the BOJ estimates that gross reserves will remain healthy over the next 2 years.
This will be supported by a current account deficit of the balance of payments ranging between 1% and 3% of GDP, a very sustainable level. This reflects the earlier mentioned expectations for a recovery in tourist arrivals and spending.
Meanwhile, Mr. Biles says there is an adequate supply of foreign exchange to meet market demand. Up to November 17, he says daily purchases by authorized dealers and cambios averaged approximately $36 million, higher than the $31 million recorded for the corresponding period last year.
At the same time, daily sales to end users averaged close to $35 million, higher than the $27 million occurred a year ago. Foreign currency flows continue to be healthy, and businesses and individuals in Jamaica who require foreign exchange have been able to access it.
Still, the central bank governor says the BOJ continues to intervene in the foreign exchange market when temporary shortfalls are identified. He adds that the rate at existing currency levels is fairly valued and the prospects are for a stable market. The tourism sector is projected to receive 3.2 million visitor arrivals in 2022 based on current trends in stopover arrivals. Portfolio Minister Edmund Bartlett says cruise passengers are to account for 1.1 million, with 2.1 million stopover arrivals expected. Earnings are projected at $3.3 billion. Minister Bartlett says that as the sector continues to rebound, Jamaica is also expecting 4.1 million visitors by the end of 2023, 1.6 million via cruise ships, and 2.5 million stopover arrivals, with earnings of $4.2 billion.
The successful outcomes of our international market blitz will certainly help us to achieve this target, if not surpass it. I believe this positive rebound and increase in demand by Brand Jamaica is largely due to our successful effort in restoring traveler confidence in destination Jamaica.
Minister Bartlett was speaking recently in Parliament. Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce Audley Shaw is urging more local businesses to pursue national certification to boost their marketability. He was speaking at a recent ceremony to recognize 6 entities that have attained ISO 9001-2015 quality standard from the National Certification Body of Jamaica, NCBJ.
In this pandemic era, the rules of engagement for business have shifted, and the certification will boost your marketability and help you stand out in an increasingly competitive marketplace where only the strong survive. Certification is your door to new markets, improved revenue, and happier customers.
The 6 entities with new ISO certification are the Scientific Research Council Food Pilot Plant, Newport for Sand Jamaica Limited, IGL Limited, Caribbean Depot, the Jamaica Public Service Company's System Protection and Control Department, and Ket's Organic Gourmet Farm.
The 2012 review of 82 studies on ISO found that certification had clear benefits for operations, customer satisfaction, and employee engagement. I am therefore confident you will realize the benefits in the medium to long term.
National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang says investments to advance the use of science and technology in solving crime have been rewarding. He points out that since January, the Institute of Forensic Science and Legal Medicine has been able to resolve approximately 222 cases using DNA evidence. In addition, approximately 143 firearm cases were resolved using ballistics evidence.
We have to invest in the security service and the security forces. We have to provide our police force with the required facilities, physically, technologically, and all the support services required to ensure we can do it. We are work, so the budget is crucial. The institutional support and organization is critical, and the legislation becomes crucial as we are working to put all those in place.
Minister Chang was speaking recently at the groundbreaking ceremony for a forensic pathology suite in Kingston. He reveals that to date, over $309,000 has been spent on DNA equipment, more than 342,000 Canadian dollars on ballistic equipment, and 289.6 million Jamaican dollars to construct a new annex at the institute. And finally, work to rehabilitate the Cornwall Regional Hospital in St. James has entered the second to last phase. The Ministry of Health and Wellness signed a contract last Thursday with construction firm M&M Jamaica Limited to carry out this phase of the project at a cost of close to $1.7 billion. Portfolio Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton admits that the rehabilitation of the Type A facility has been a consistent source of discontent. But he says that while repair of the hospital has taken various turns as new issues reveal themselves, there is now a revised roadmap in place for the rehabilitation of Cornwall Regional.
We had to change courses several times. But I am hoping that this particular course will be the course that takes us to completion and will end the season of discontent, which clearly still lingers.
Work for this phase of the project is expected to begin in short order. Due to the sensitivity of hospital construction, Minister Tufton says a United States-based engineering firm WSP has been tapped as commissioning agent on the project. A commissioning agent works closely with lead contractors to ensure that a building or construction project meets the operational requirements of the client. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
I encourage all Jamaicans to be a part of the My Tree Legacy promotion. Planting trees is important and critical to our survival. It builds resilience. It provides us with air, water, and food. Go out today, plant a tree, renew your environment.
Register your alma mater for the Forestry Department's My Tree Legacy promotion and be a part of the preservation of Jamaica land we love. Let us highlight your contribution to the My Tree Legacy promotion by submitting videos or pictures of you leaving your mark. Every tree counts. Plant a tree today and keep climate change away.
This next feature is aimed at providing a source of inspiration for those who wish to enter farming.
Losing your job at any time is hard, more so during a pandemic. But in this adversity can arise opportunity. It's just a matter of how you bounce back from this job loss to put food on your table and to keep clothes on your back.
late 2019 into early 2020, I realized that my job security was a little bit threatened. And so the thought came to me, if I were to lose my job right now, my son just started high school, what would have happened? And I explored other things, a lot of other options, different ways that I could make an additional source of income. But the only thing that kept coming back to me was farming. And it's something that I just never saw myself doing. Growing up, if somebody told me that I would be doing this now, I wouldn't have believed them because I detest it. I didn't see where my family members, really got anything out of it. It was just a little thing that they were doing. They didn't treat it as a business. And so I said to myself, I didn't want to be like them. But at the end of the day, I had to be realistic because I had a thriving backyard garden. I was saying to myself, that's just being hypocritical. If you can do it just for fun, why not just do it, as an additional source of income? As a farmer, the biggest challenge I have to, and still continuing to overcome, are the voices in my head that, farming is not a viable business. It's not something that you do. It's just something you do on the side. Growing up, nobody aspired to be a farmer. Nobody wanted you to be a farmer. You dare not go and tell your parents that, oh, I'm going to be a farmer. No, that's just not something you do. So the biggest challenge right now is, the voices in my head and what I think society said about farming. Now, second to that, it's just to get good work. They have this thing to say, good help is hard to find. We have gone through that stage where you find some, that's not ideal, but I have to give God thanks right now. I have a team that is great.
Natural sweet corn, man. You don't have to cook it, man. Eat natural, man.
See, like I said, it's not about losing your job, but really how you bounce back. We know it can be hard, so make sure you are not one of those persons who are afraid to ask for help.
Well, to tell you the truth, every single thing that happened in your life, look at it as a lesson, because whatever challenges I was facing back in 2019, 2020, in that 9-to-5 job at the time, looking at it now, I saw where it prepared me to be the type of person I am today, because farming is not for the faint of heart, It's not. And I look at it, every day I look at it, I always repeat Romans 8, verse 28. All things work together for good for those who love the Lord. And if you can just look at your challenges, whatever it is you're going through right now, maybe you were fired, maybe your company scaled down, maybe you are ill, whatever it is, you can look at those challenges and just flip them, turn them into something positive. As it relates to those persons who want to go into farming with a plan. Don't just go into farming and do it like, because that's what everybody is doing. That's how my grandmother did it. That's how my mother is doing it right now, and I'm trying to tell her, no, you have to go with a plan. Go with a plan. Speak with the expert. Speak with RADA, because you're just doing this. Even if you have a degree in the area, somebody out there still knows more than you. So speak with them, and you have a plan. Chief among that plan should be your marketing plan. Who is your target audience? Why are you planting what you're planting? Once you have a plan, you don't even really need money, because you can sell your plan to the financial institution, to a friend or to somebody, and they will fund it once it's a solid plan. So for those persons who have lost jobs, don't give up. Just look at it as a lesson. Look at it as a stepping stone. What can I learn from this here situation right now? Most businesses started out of a crisis. This is your crisis. This is your recession. Just use it to propel you to the next level. And for those persons, young females, because I'm passionate about women empowerment, for those young women who want to go into agriculture, go straight for it.
All children deserve positive parenting. Why not pamper us? Be patient with us. Make time to teach us and, of course, play with us. Celebrate milestones with us and don't forget to be our number one supporter. Do all these things and practice positive parenting today.
Shelter, one of humans' most basic needs. While many persons have access to housing, only a few have accomplished the goal of home ownership. That's why government through the Jamaica Mortgage Bank is ensuring that even more Jamaicans can lay claim to a piece of the rock. As the name suggests, the Jamaica Mortgage Bank provides interim financing for developers to build affordable houses. Established in June 1971 as a private liability company, the bank was converted in 1973 to a statutory corporation. During the 1980s and early 90s, the bank partnered with what is now known as the Housing Agency of Jamaica to fund housing solutions across the island. Today, the Jamaica Mortgage Bank is a self-financing entity with the sole purpose of funding safe and affordable housing solutions for Jamaicans.
The Jamaica Mortgage Bank has financed over 150 projects over its 50 years. More recently though, in the last 5 years, we have accelerated our mandate and we are now providing more financing than before in the last 5 years. In fact, over the last 5 years, we have assessed about 58 projects across the length and breadth of Jamaica, valuing about $26 billion.
The bank offers 3 distinct services: financing for the primary market, financing for the secondary market, and managing the Government of Jamaica's Mortgage Indemnity Insurance Plan. The core of the mortgage bank's work is in the primary market, where it provides developers with financing to build houses.
You cannot go anywhere in Jamaica and not see housing development going on. And that's only because there's such a huge gap between the number of starts compared to the demand. And in addition to that, we know that it's a low-hanging fruit in terms of investments for developers. They enjoy a very healthy return on equity and return on investment. So what we're seeing is that development in terms of returns compete with only the stock market.
In the secondary market, the bank offers a pool of funds to financial institutions who then on-lend to potential homeowners at an affordable rate. And through the Mortgage Indemnity Insurance Plan, the bank provides an entry point for developers to get into the housing market.
We insure the risk that mortgage lenders do not want to take in terms of the percentage of loan to an individual. Once that is insured, then the potential purchaser of a house has a lower down payment, and so they can get into housing much quicker. We think that's a very innovative plan for Jamaica, and we have seen a significant increase in the number of financial institutions that is using that tool to get individuals into houses much faster.
A developer seeking financing for their project may call the Jamaica Mortgage Bank or visit its website to ascertain the requirements for a loan.
We have a checklist of about 27 items. It sounds a lot, but it's not that onerous. It is information that you would have to provide to any financial institution in which you want to access a loan. But some of the primary things that we look at is a drawing. We look at the approvals from the municipal corporations. We look at approvals from NEPA if it is required. We look at approvals from the fire, water if required. We also look at the costs. We look at the marketing because that is critical.
A financial feasibility project document is generated, which is run through the Jamaica Mortgage Bank's credit model. From there, a rating and pricing is attached to the project. Securitization and mobilization are the next steps once an agreement is reached between the developer and the bank.
Most developers will tell you that we behave like a private sector company. Our process is extremely efficient. In fact, from the time of submitting the the documentation that are required to the time of approval, once a project is deemed to be feasible, could take 1 month.
The first word I have to say is really awesome. We first approached the mortgage bank in, I think it was November of 2019, and immediately we were introduced to their technical staff that brought us right through the process. And I want to emphasize on the technical staff, because without them we probably wouldn't have been where we're at right now. They really guide us throughout the process, and I can tell you by February of 2020 we had a provisional approval.
The Jamaica Mortgage Bank has been very interactive and cooperative, and we have been partners for the last over a decade.
We are seeing the ordinary person getting into housing development. We have seen an increase in women in development. We have seen pastors, we have seen people who have had other careers getting into housing development. And I think all of that combined is contributing to the increase in volume that we're seeing in terms of housing.
It's pragmatic advice based on profitability for the project and tweaking the design that the consumer can accept and appreciate it. And if them tell you something, that is how it goes. You understand? They're very factual and straightforward. And that's what you need. And reliable. Reliability is what you need in this industry.
Each project is looked on an individual basis and priced accordingly. But we are extremely competitive in terms of our interest rates. We also have a discounted rate based on whether or not that project is considered a green project, whether there's water harvesting, whether or not there might be solar panels.
Persons wishing to access the bank's mortgage indemnity insurance plan will have to go through their mortgage lending institution. Here's how it works. A potential homeowner is seeking a $10 million loan. The mortgage institution is only willing to lend 90% of the loan, leaving the 10% or $1 million for the mortgagee. If the potential homeowner is unable to come up with a down payment, the Jamaica Mortgage Bank steps in, providing insurance for the remaining loan amount. That way, should the mortgagee default on the loan, the mortgage bank will reimburse the lending institution the 10%. So, if you're looking to finance your housing development,
the mortgage bank is here to assist, to help you, to hold your hands, and to help you accomplish your objective.
You can lower your salt intake by checking the labels when buying processed and packaged foods. Compare products and choose the options lower in salt. A low salt option should have less than 120 milligrams of sodium per 100 grams of food. Reduce the salt and increase your consumption of fresh unprocessed foods. When cooking and at the table, use herbs, spices and other seasonings to give you great flavor and taste.
As we shine the spotlight on the importance of heart health this and every November, we share some well-needed information about a superfood that will help keep heart disease at bay.
We all love our protein: chicken, beef, pork. But how often do we eat fish? Is it only at Easter time or when you're at the beach? Incorporating more fish into your diet can be very beneficial to your health. Compared to red meats and poultry, fish has far less calories and cholesterol.
It's the saturated fats and the trans fats that our bodies use to make cholesterol. And fish and seafood have very little saturated fat and trans fat. So in truth and in fact, that makes it a very healthy source of protein.
Fish also has iron, which is important for good reasoning and memory, iodine, which can prevent mental problems in children, and selenium, vitamins and carotenoids, which are antioxidants. Who knew that we could get so many nutrients from fish? And that's not all. Incorporating fish into our diet can even reduce the chances of developing certain diseases.
Studies have in fact shown that people who have a higher intake of fish compared to other meat sources have less heart disease, they suffer from fewer mood disorders, and they have less cognitive decline with age, so less dementia.
This is due to omega-3 fatty acids, a nutrient that is only found in a few other food sources, such as walnuts and flax seeds. But oily fish, such as sardines, tuna, mackerel, salmon, and trout, are excellent sources of omega-3s and are readily available at your convenience in supermarkets. So we want to add fish into our diet. In what ways can we do this?
So escovitch fish is one of our favorites. Now the onions and the carrots and the vinegar and the pimento, that's all fine. But we don't want to do a lot of deep frying. Deep frying adds calories. Nothing like a nice steamed fish, a nice roast fish. And when you roast your fish, you can stuff it with wonderful vegetables like callaloo and so on. So we have to find other ways. Many of us have broilers as a part of our stove and we've never utilized it. We don't know how it's used. And that gives us, I think, the closest taste to fried without adding a lot of oil.
So we've got different styles of cooking the fish, but what about flavor? Jamaicans love adding salt, but fish is already salty. Wouldn't that be too much sodium?
If we utilize other things like lime and lemon juice and or fresh seasonings or scotch bonnet pepper or onions or scallion, we can make our fish flavorful without adding a lot of extra sodium.
That sounds really tasty, but watch out for bones. Make sure to debone fish before giving your children. Even if the fish is bought deboned, check for fine bones with your fingers. If you're not careful, you could end up with a medical emergency. The recommended serving size per week is only 8 to 9 ounces of fish, or 2 to 3 servings per week. With an array of health benefits and a variety of ways to cook it, don't miss out on this lifestyle choice. Make a positive impact on your health by adding more fish to your diet.
We're always grateful for the time you spend with us right here on Jamaica Magazine. As always, thanks for watching. Do join us again tomorrow, same time, same place. You can also watch this episode again on the JIS YouTube channel. Catch up on all the major happenings by visiting our website. Add us on all the major social media sites and download our mobile app from your smartphone's app store. From all of us here at the JIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson. See you soon.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.